clouds and private clouds, but what we are going to focus more on is a public cloud, because that is what is basically giving a lot of value, business value to enterprises, where they can start consuming the public cloud and they can actually get rid of the overhead that they have in terms of managing their own on data centers, and pay for the real estate, pay for the power cooling expenses, pay for personal expenses such as human resources who are required to manage, and then incur the capital expenditure that they have. So all of that is not there with cloud, right? You just go subscribe in 5 minutes. You can provision whatever you want using a credit card. You can create an account, and then you're done, right? So you don't have to get into a long-term relationship, long-term, contract with any cloud provider. Okay, so that's the crux of what we saw yesterday. So now what we will go through today is we'll get started with the AWS cloud. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, so let's get started with AWS, but a quick glance at what is on-premise IT and what is a cloud-based, infrastructure, right? I told you about server, storage, network, databases, applications, and network, right? So this is your on-premise, but with cloud, you get everything over internet, okay, where you get server, storage, databases, applications. Cloud service provider like AWS takes care of it. And then so how does it work, right? In this case, AWS owns and maintains the network connected hardware, and you provision and use what you only need, right? So as a user, you open the website, web application of AWS, subscribe to it, and you can start provisioning and you can start using it. And these are the three different models that we spoke about. AWS supports all the three different models. We will see, what are those services that are there in AWS. Yeah, so in this case, uh, this is the public cloud model, right? So where you can be completely on public cloud. AWS also provides you an option to go with a hybrid cloud model, where half of your applications can reside in on premises. That's called on premises, right? So when you build your own data centers, private data centers, that is called an on premise data center, because it's on premises, on your own premises, right? So that's called a hybrid. So where you have half of your applications lying in on premises, half of it is in cloud. So it gets connected, and then your users are able to access both cloud and on premise through a network connectivity. Okay. Benefit: data center investment is based upon forecast, right? You need to shell a lot of capital expenditure, but whereas in cloud, you only pay for that amount that you consume based on the time that you consume. Okay, and what is the benefit that you get? I told you yesterday that because clouds like AWS has built massive data centers, has invested billions of dollars, and multiple millions of customers are sharing those resources. So that way, you only pay for what you use. So that way, you get savings, a lot of savings, because of the massive economies of scale. It is called economies of scale. Okay, because of aggregate usage from all customers, AWS can achieve higher economies of scale and pass savings on to customers. It's like this, right? I mean, government has built trains, or there are private companies who have built aircrafts, right? And you're making use of it, but you're paying only for what you use, right? So that way, both are benefiting out of it. And capacity, you don't need to guess the capacity needs, right? Because cloud is all about, it can scale on demand, right? And then it can go down, it can again go up, it can come down. I'll give an example. um, all of you watch Hotstar, right? IPL matches on Hotstar, correct? So now in Hotstar, if you see, Hotstar is based out of a cloud. Okay. So now in Hotstar, if you see on the day of IPL match, on the day of final IPL match, the number of hits to Hotstar increases significantly on the last day finals of IPL, right? So when it increases significantly, Obviously, Hotstar needs more capacity to spin more servers and more storage, so that all the content, all the 50 million users or 100 million users who are connecting to it gets to see the Hotstar, the final IPL match without any buffering. Because imagine if it keeps buffering every time and ball by ball, how frustrating it would be, right? So for that, you don't know what is the, you won't be able to predict, what is the number of users who are going to log in on the day of finals, right? So there, if you imagine, if you are on a, if Hotstar is on a private data center, they have to guess the capacity and they have to buy servers upfront and stack it in their data centers upfront. And after the IPL final is over, this capacity will come down to the original one, right? So, and all the additional servers that you procured is all waste. It's a dead investment, correct? But whereas in cloud, you can just keep scaling up and down, right? Now, for example, instead of consider this to be the Hotstar finals, IPL final. It started here, and then it goes up, it goes, and then suddenly you see that um, Mumbai Indians is not really playing well, right? And a lot of people have high hopes on Mumbai Indians, right? And suddenly you see that people have disconnected. They are frustrated and they're disconnecting because they don't want to watch the match anymore. But after about 15 minutes or so, suddenly they get news that Arey, Mumbai Indians is thrashing, man. Please continue to watch. Right? Suddenly, then all the friends, I mean, everybody starts logging into Hotstar. Okay, and they watch the IPL match. So then suddenly it increases based on the popularity. It increases. Okay, then it goes till the end of the match. After the end of the match, Mumbai Indians win the match. Then they get the cup. Then the match is ended. Then the overall utilization also goes down. Number of instances that are running. Instance is nothing but a virtual machine, right? And the application demand increases, this also increases. Application demand reduces, your compute also reduces. Okay. And how it happens, speed and agility, right? I mean, in case of on-premise data centers, it's weeks before wanting resources and having resources. You have to wait. Purchase request has to be raised. Purchase order will have to be given. Then finance has to approve. PO has to be received. Item ordered. So much of process in it, right? It will take weeks. Whereas in cloud, you just hit the launch button. In a few minutes, you will start getting your resources available at your fingertip. Stop spending money on running and maintaining data centers like hardware, landscape, maintenance, utilities, payroll. All of that investment is gone. In this case, focus only on business and your customers and go global in minutes, right? You want to build a global website which is accessible from across the globe. You can just go global in minutes. You can build a website in 10 minutes. In fact, you're going to do that. Okay, when we do some exercises, you will see that in 10 minutes you will build a website which is accessed globally. And security, right? I mean, it's secure. I mean, who said cloud is not secure? Okay. All that is cock and bull stories, right? I mean, if somebody says that cloud is not secure, then it is
అంకుల్
not
వైట్
true.
కలర్
It is
దారం
not
ఉంది
true.
అంకుల్ దారం అంటే బట్టలు కుడతారు వైట్ ఇది ఒకటి
Yeah, Z109, can you please go on mute? Okay, so
Yeah, we
am I
can hear
audible?
you now.
Okay, sure. So yeah, so you can go and it is secure, right? I mean, you can keep your data safe and meet all your compliance requirements. You can save money in audits and you can save money in compliance. You can scale quickly. So it is secure actually. Okay. So now what is AWS Cloud? These are all the various broad level services that are there in AWS Cloud. Like compute, I told about compute, right? Compute is nothing but CPU and memory. Okay. How many CPUs you need? How much GB of RAM do you need? All of us are aware of it. Storage is how much of disk storage space that you require. Various types of disk storage is there, right? Hard disk is a very common disk storage, correct? I mean, all of us have hard disks in our laptops and desktops. But having said that, now the standard mechanical hard drives that are there, right? That is gone. I mean, that's kind of not being very popularly used. Okay, the standard hard disk that you have, right? So now these days you have something called SSD, solid state drive. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of the solid state drive technology. Solid state drive is a persistent drive like your hard disk, where solid state drive helps with helps with uh, um, you know storing data in a very fast way, like how RAM works, right? RAM is nothing but a chip, right? It's a flash drive, right? It's a chip, and it's a high speed chip, where which can store memory and which can store data in its memory. So that is what RAM is all about, right? Because RAM, your CPU needs to have a fast access to RAM, right? And then RAM should be able to give the data back to the CPU so that it can process the data, right? But now that same technology has come in the fixed persistent storage as well, in hard drives as well. Now hard drives are also using the technology of using flash chips inside it instead of using a magnetic drive, right? If you take a magnetic drive has to rotate. All of you would have seen it, right? A magnetic drive would rotate. There is a spindle and there is a read head. If a data needs to be read, the drive will be rotating at 7,000 rpms per minute, or 15,000 rpms per minute, rotations per minute. So the read write head will position itself on top of uh, the respective sector, and then it reads the data and then it sends it to the memory, correct? So that is so that way, it has, since it's a mechanical part, and since there is some motor which is running inside it, it can go bad very soon. Okay, and it is not reliable also. So now that is a replacement of ssds are replacing hard drives these days. Databases, right? Like databases like Oracle, you're now going through Oracle, learning Oracle, right? Ravi sir is teaching you all Oracle. So now imagine getting a complete Oracle database on cloud, where you don't have to worry about the underlying hardware, you don't have to worry about the operating system, you don't have to worry about the license, right? Your Oracle instance is available as a platform as a service. It's just straight away you go provision an Oracle instance, you can start using Oracle. Leave this migration. Networking, right? Networking and content delivery. Again, networking, you need network access, correct? You need your virtual machines, you need your applications to be connected to the network. So that entire networking is provided by AWS Cloud. Developer tools, right? You need some tools to build applications, right? Developer tools are provided by AWS. In fact, there are few services that are available with which you get an IDE, right? You get an IDE like, I'm not sure how many of you have used an IDE like Eclipse, okay, or Python. In Python you have something called Anaconda, right? And to build applications in Python. There are also a lot of online web-based IDEs that are available, right? And PLSQL also, right? You can use Toad to basically build a PLSQL or uh, interact with Oracle. Okay, then management tools. You need a lot of management tools to manage your servers, storage, and network, right? It provides all those management tools. Media services. Media services is where you have a set of media's components where you can encode videos, right? You can stream videos, like how YouTube is streaming videos. You can stream videos. You can build your own YouTube channel, or rather, you can build your own YouTube application, similar to what YouTube provides, right? Through which you can stream media, you can stream real-time media, right? You want to broadcast some show over internet, right? You can use this media services. Then security, identity, and compliance. Security, it provides a lot of security features to provide identity management, authorization, authentication, okay, intrusion detection and prevention, right? If somebody is trying to hack into your systems, it can automatically detect it, and it can prevent those prevent those hackers from reaching your systems. Okay, and if somebody is trying to penetrate into your environment, it prevents those penetration. Analytics, right? Analytics is another major area, right? I mean, today if you see a lot of gravity that we are seeing on analytics. Almost every organization today, every business is relying on analytics to generate a lot of content and data on analytics, because they're generating a lot of data. So now they have to analyze all those data. So that is where machine learning plays a major role, right? Artificial intelligence and machine learning is playing a major role. So now AWS has got services for building analytics out of the box. You don't have to really worry about going too deep. You can, even though you don't have IT background, you can simply go use these analytics services to build analytics platforms very quickly, right? For example, you have some of the uh, statistics that comes up, right? Like COVID-19 statistics itself, right? There's worldometers which is there. This is nothing but an example of analytics, right? Where this is basically an analytics based application where it is collecting data from multiple different sources, and it's able to say that what is the country wise, how many people have been impacted because of COVID-19 and all that, right? This is a huge data because they have to collect data from every country, process the data, summarize the data, build some analytics on top of it. Okay. And mobile services, right? You want to build mobile apps, you can easily build those mobile apps on AWS Cloud, right? And probably in a week's time you'll be able to build a complete mobile app, build a secure mobile app and launch it in App Store or Play Store. AR and VR, right? How many of you own a VR headset, virtual reality headset? Raise your hands. Two, okay. Okay, so how many of you know what a virtual reality is, or an augmented reality is? Three, four, five, six. Okay, about 10 odd people, right? Yeah, about 10 odd people know what a virtual reality is. Don't worry, there's so much of uh, fun in using virtual reality. Um, Unfortunately, we are not meeting face to face, but otherwise, I could have shown you a demo of what a virtual reality is, virtual reality headset. How does it look like? But you can just do that. You can learn. Okay, you can just uh, go to YouTube and search for virtual. You can just search for virtual reality, and you will see a lot of videos around what virtual reality is. Okay, I'll leave it to you guys to kind of read this, see this during your free time. Yeah, so using AWS Cloud, we can build virtual reality. VR means virtual reality. AR means augmented reality. Okay, augmented reality and virtual reality. Okay, okay. How many of you played PUBG? All of you would have played PUBG, right? So PUBG is basically an augmented reality based game. Wait, I'm curious to see how many of you have played PUBG. Of course, it's banned now. But, okay, I think quite a few are. Looks like quite a few have played. Of you have played. So yeah, so it's basically an augmented reality based game. Okay, so yeah, so virtual reality and augmented reality and application integrations, right? So when you want to integrate multiple applications together, right? Like banking applications are there, a lot of applications, right? I mean, those, I'm building an e-commerce platform and I want to integrate my e-commerce platform with the payment gateway, right? So in such cases, I would need some sort of an integration layer to integrate these applications. It's all of that is actually possible on AWS. Customer engagement and all of this. Desktop and app streaming. You can build desktops on AWS, virtual desktops on AWS. There are services to do that. Internet of Things. Okay. How many of you know what an Internet of Things is? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, great. So yeah, there are about 15, 20 of you are aware of what Internet of Things mean, right? Again, you can look at some examples in YouTube on Internet of Things. You'll get some basic idea of what Internet of Things mean. I'll give a simple example of Internet of Things, right? Um, these days in cars, you have okay. I think somebody has to go on mute, I believe. Yeah. Okay. These days, you have yeah. So you have smart homes and smart cars and whatnot, right? So now, in smart homes, you'll be able to control your electrical equipments, your fridge, washing machine, even geyser, right? There are some geysers which have Internet of Things, IoT chip enabled, smart devices. They're all called smart appliances, smart devices. So now, so all of that infrastructure that is required, where you need the ability to pass state information of those devices. So that's all connected to some common servers, right? So that all of that can be brought on AWS. Game development, you can build games on AWS. You can build robots on AWS. Okay, when I say robots, virtual robots. Even physical robots are there in AWS. I'll give you another example of there's something called Deep Racer in AWS. Okay, no, Deep Racer is uh, it's a car. It's a small miniature car which is powered by AI/ML. Okay, so now the Deep Racer, uh, using Deep Racer, you can build your own racing algorithms. Okay, you can build your own algorithms to basically operate that car. Okay, I'll show you some videos of it towards the end of it. So there are some nice interesting stories available. So at a broad level, these are all the services that are available. So A to Z, pretty much everything is there in AWS Cloud. You name it, from an IT perspective, it is there in AWS Cloud. You don't have to go anywhere else. It's all there in AWS Cloud. AWS provides you comprehensive set of services. In fact, AWS has got 175 plus services total. Okay, and uh, and AWS is the largest cloud provider in the world today, and AWS is the largest cloud provider even from a market share perspective. And AWS has got the maximum number of largest number of customer base. Okay, and also AWS cloud is cost effective when compared to other clouds. Okay, and the pace at which AWS is innovating is mind boggling. Okay, almost every year, the number of services that are released by AWS is quite huge in number. Okay, you can stay in touch with what are the new services that are being released by AWS. I'll point you to all those resources. You can track them on a weekly basis. You will see that every week there are some new things that are being offered every week. Okay, and almost every year around this time, there is a global conference that AWS Amazon conducts globally. In US, in the US, it happens in Las Vegas. It's called Reinvent, AWS Reinvent. So that is the largest event, largest tech event conducted in the world today by any tech organization. Okay, it happens in Las Vegas. Okay, there are about 60, 70,000 people attend that event, and so many companies come there, so many enterprises come there to showcase their solutions, to showcase their products, and so many ISVs, independent software vendors, come there to showcase their uh, products, right? And it's a huge. It pretty much the entire Las Vegas city will be filled with AWS during that 1 week. Okay, it happens for about 1 week, so that entire 1 week will be filled with uh, Las Vegas will be filled with AWS. So that is the world's largest tech event ever happened, and that happens every year. So this is just around the time, but this year due to COVID, it's happening online. Okay, but still, all of you can actually register to that. I mean, and there will be, it will be broadcasted on YouTube, and you will be able to watch those keynote sessions, and I'll show you some videos of that. Okay, but that's a great event for all of you to kind of stay connected with. In fact, I was there last year, and I kind of enjoyed it thoroughly. So I was able to uh, really look at the scale at which that event happens, and it's quite huge. Okay, about 50,000, 60,000 people who
Sir,
assemble there. Yeah,
your voice is a little bit low, sir.
how is it now? How is it now?
Okay, sir. Now it's better, sir, compared to.
Better? Okay, all right. One second, one second. Yeah. Okay. So that's the thing. So let's move on. Okay. So now let's get to a module two. What are the core services, right? Um, okay. So now this is the global infrastructure of AWS. Okay. Yesterday I told you about how data centers are built, correct? So now you just saw only one data center yesterday, right? I mean, but AWS has got data centers globally. This is the world map, and you see that there are so many data centers that are available across the world, right? Pretty much every continent has got presence of AWS. US, you have these many data centers. Europe, you have these many data centers. Africa, South America, you have data centers. You have in Africa, you have in Middle East, right? And you have in India, in Mumbai, we have one more is coming up in India. You have in Singapore, you have in Indonesia, you have in Hong Kong, you have in Japan, Tokyo, you have in China, you have North Korea, okay, you have in Australia. So pretty much you name it is there, right? I mean, it's present across the world, right? And in fact, there is one nice thing that is there. You can see that. I'll just pull that up. Okay. So if you just say structure.aws, it will take you to this website. Yeah, you able to see this? So it will take you to this website. Go through this website. It's very interactive. It's fun to kind of go through this. It tells you how the various different regions of AWS, like India, Australia, US, Middle East, Europe, they're all connected with each other. Okay, and how the connectivity is flowing through cross ocean cables. So these are all cables that are running through ocean. Okay, so now if you see, So you can just play around with it. You can just click. Okay, so now if you see, yeah, so you see India, right? This is India. So now India is connected to Singapore. They have, if you see this, right? In fact, those cables are all running over the ocean. Okay, there are oceanic, cross oceanic cables that run, and then it connects the data centers, various different data centers. That is called the backbone. That is called the backbone of AWS global infrastructure. So this is called the global infrastructure of AWS, right? And then if you click on one specific Mumbai, right? And Mumbai has got 3 availability zones. An availability zone is nothing but it's a place where you can deploy your applications, and availability zones are split by geographic locations within that, so that for example, you have an availability zone in say, let's take Hyderabad. Let's take Hyderabad as an example, right? Let's take there is one data center in say Uppal. Okay, and that'll be called one availability zone. And in fact, one availability zone comprises of one or more data centers. The data center buildings that you saw, it will be one or more data centers of will be one availability zone. The second availability zone will be somewhere in say Varangal, okay, or somewhere in Mehboob Nagar. Okay, so the each availability zone is spaced by a distance of about 100 kilometers, so that in such a way that if there is a natural disaster or a natural calamity that is happening in one location, I mean there is an earthquake or there is flooding or there is some social unrest that is happening in one specific location, and for some reason that data center gets destroyed, okay, you will still have another set of availability zone in the vicinity, probably 100 kilometers within the radius of 100 kilometers, so that you can store data there and you can quickly come back, bring your business online. And you can deploy your applications in such a way that if you have 2 web server nodes, you can deploy one web server node in one availability zone, the second web server node can be in the second availability zone, and you can load balance these two in such a way that traffic goes to both the web server nodes. In case one goes down, the other one is available for you to sustain your business. So that is called the notion of availability zone. So you can just read through this. But if you see, in Mumbai, we have got 3 availability zones, and there are so many uh, local zones that are available. Okay, you can read through this. There are a total of 77 availability zones across the globe. Okay, and there are about how many regions today? You read this: to support the global footprint and ensure customers are served across the world, AWS maintain multiple geographic regions, including North America, South America, Europe, and Asia Pacific. Unlike other cloud providers who define a region as a single data center, at AWS regions consists of multiple availability zones, each of which is a fully isolated partition of the AWS infrastructure that consists of discrete data centers with redundant power, networking, and connectivity housed in separate facilities. Each AWS region has at least 2 availability zones. Most have 3, including all new regions, and several have as many as 6. Regions are connected to the global network with a 100 Gbps intercontinental network. Like, for example, Australia is connected to Asia using an intercontinental network, okay, which goes over the oceans. The fast-paced expansion of regions is paired with Amazon's long-term commitment to sustainability. The goal is to build AWS regions in locations where they can be supplied with renewable energy in the same grids where infrastructure is being built. As the AWS cloud expands and energy use increases, AWS continues working towards its goal of using 100% renewable energy to power its infrastructure, because the computing needs are only going to increase day by day, right? Because given the number of devices that all of us are using, like mobile devices, connected devices, we need to process a lot of data. So cloud is going to be the natural choice for everybody to process data and store data, right? So now it's going to increase. So in order to ensure that it is not adversely affecting the environment, AWS is actually committed to using 100% renewable energy. Okay, so you can just read through this. So yeah, so it's a very interesting thing. You can just read through this and go through this later on. It's called infrastructure.aws. That is the website name, infrastructure.aws. I can post it in the chat. Okay, let's go back. So this is basically the global infrastructure. Let's take one example of Singapore region, right? Singapore region has got 3 availability zones. Okay, availability zone 1, availability zone 2, availability zone 3. It's called, the region is called AP-Southeast-1. That is the region name, okay, which is used everywhere because it's all automatable, right? So you can just pass the region name in your command line interface or in your API, and you'll be able to interact with this region, which is called Singapore. And within that, you have AP Southeast 1A, which is availability zone 1, 1B, and 1C. So remember, each availability zone is separated by a distance of less than 100 kilometers. Okay, they'll be in 3 separate distinct geographical locations, but they're connected with high-speed network, so that the latency between availability zone 1 and 2 is very less. It is as good as you are in the same network. Okay, and remember, each availability zone itself comprises of discrete data centers, okay, in separate facilities. Okay, these are 3 buildings that AP Southeast 1A will have or might have. Okay, and the physical location of those buildings is unknown. Okay, usually AWS does not disclose that information for security reasons. Okay, even I don't know, right? I work for AWS. I myself don't know, where what is the physical locations of these facilities. Okay, and yesterday you saw that video, right, where you get a complete strip, and where you have multiple pods. That is one data center. So similarly, you'll have multiple of those data centers which form one availability zone. Multiples of availability zones form one region, and multiple regions form the AWS global infrastructure. Okay, so now you can imagine what is the scale. Yesterday, how many servers did that video show? Can somebody remember that? 3 lakh 60. 3,60,000, 3,60,000. Okay, 3,60,000 servers that one data center can have. So similarly, if you see, multiple data centers would be there. So imagine the scale. Imagine how much capacity would be there, and how much of capacity will be available for consumers to make use of. Okay, that is the idea. Okay, edge locations are something which is called. um so now these are the actual locations which are containing the data, right? But edge locations is where data gets cached, right? I mean, common data gets cached. What is caching, right? A lot of computer science students will know what is caching. You would have read it in your you'd have studied this in your curriculums. But for non CS students, caching, CACHING, caches, it's called cache, not the money cache. Okay, this is the memory cache. So what the memory cache means is, uh, frequently used data is actually cached in a location close by in memory, so that next time when the request comes to make use of the data, it doesn't have to go to the server doesn't have to read it from the disk and then send it. So that way it can be it can be easily served, it can be quickly distributed, the data can be quickly distributed, right? I'll give another example. You have your YouTube trending videos, correct? When you go to YouTube, when you go to home or you go to the trending, right? So these are all the trending videos that you have, right? I mean, these are all like trending as per your this thing, right? So if you just look at the 10 trending videos, usually these videos are cached in multiple locations across the globe, right? Right now I'm trying to access it from, say, uh, Hyderabad. Okay, I see that there's a nomination process is going to be spicy. Big Boss Telugu for today. Okay, this was aired 22 hours ago, right? So now if you see this video, it's already hit about 2.7 million views, right? And it's a video which is frequently watched by viewers, correct? So now what YouTube would do is they will take this video, they will cache this video in edge locations in memory. Okay, in Hyderabad they will have like say 3 to 4 edge locations. Okay, similarly in every other city, right, every other country, they will have 3 to 4 or several cache locations which is close by to the user, right? So for example, I am in Pragati Nagar, Kukatpalli, right? I mean, if I watch this video, it will basically stream this video from a location which is nearest to me. Okay, it knows what is the source IP and what is the location, my location. It will actually take the video from the nearest cache location, and then it will stream it to me so that I watch it without any buffering, and I'm not putting any load on the YouTube's servers directly. And YouTube doesn't have to every time for every hit, they don't have to go load it from the disk and then stream it to the end user. So that is called caching. Okay, so now similarly, AWS has got several edge locations, multiple edge locations, and regional edge caches. Okay, these are all the edge locations that AWS has, where commonly used data is cached and commonly used data is used out there. Okay, so now how do you interact with AWS, right? There are three ways in which you can interact with AWS. One is you have a management console website, you'll get a web application. You just say aws.amazon.com, it will go to that website. And then you can log in and then you will be able to perform all functions in AWS using a graphical user interface. There is a command line interface. Okay, you have to install the command line interface on your desktops, and then you have to configure your user details in that. Then you will be able to pass commands. Okay, and you'll be able to pass commands and you'll be able to access AWS resources or manage AWS resources. And you also have SDK, software development kits. You want to build programs using AWS SDKs. You can build programs using .NET. You can build programs using Java, Python, Node.js and things like that. Okay. Now, command line interface, all of you know, right? I mean, you have done shell programming, right? In shell program, you just need to pass the command line, and then you'll be able to run AWS commands on the command line interface. These are the three ways in which you can interact with AWS. This is the AWS management console. As I said, if you go to aws.amazon.com, you will see this page through which you will see all the services. You'll be able to interact with the services. Then you also have a uh, um, a mobile application for AWS, okay, with which you'll be able to access resources even from your mobile. There is an app which is available. And CLI, okay, it's an open source tool for interacting with AWS services. What are the environments that CLI supports? Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. So these are the three environments that CLI can run. Okay, Linux, you go to your bash shell and then you run commands, you'll be able to interact with your CLI. I'll just show you a quick example of how it works. Yeah, this is my shell, right? I can just do AWS S3 ls. See, it is just going to list down all the S3 buckets that I have. And SDKs, these are all the languages that SDKs are supported. JavaScript, Python, PHP, .NET, Ruby, Go, Lang, Node.js, C++, Java. Okay, so now let's do one thing. Let's kind of, before we get into these concepts, I'll just show you the console. I'll walk you through more AWS services that are there. Okay, service by service. So now, how do you access it? You go to aws.amazon.com. Okay, you will get this page, home page of AWS. Okay, and you will get some banners here. New announcements are actually advertised in these banners. Okay, and then you want to see what all services AWS has got. Click on this products, and you can go service by service. Okay, but I'll just click on products. Okay, and then what you can see is you can see um, like you can click on analytics. So these are all the services that AWS has got for analytics, like Athena, Cloud Search, Elasticsearch Service, EMR, MapReduce, right? You use Hadoop, correct? In Hadoop, you use MapReduce algorithm. Elastic MapReduce, Kinesis, managed streaming for Kafka, Redshift, QuickSight, and so on and so forth, Glue, and things like that. AR/VR, to build AR/VR applications, Sumerian is the service that is used. Blockchain, right? I mean, blockchain is again an important concept that is getting very popular these days. Compute, EC2. EC2 is the virtual servers in the cloud, right? Like you have servers, right? You have other day you all deployed a VMware server, okay, VMware virtual machine on your desktops and laptops, right? So now if you have to build a similar server, it is called EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. It's a compute primarily. So what is compute? Compute is CPU plus RAM memory. That is called compute, which has got an operating system in it. Similarly, there are a lot of other compute services. Don't worry too much. You don't have to really take it easy for now. Right? If you don't understand, don't worry. As we do more and more hands-on, you'll be able to understand. Okay. And you have something called Lambda, which is serverless functions. Okay. They're called serverless technologies. And Outpost is something which is for hybrid clouds, right? So where what Amazon AWS does is they ship a complete rack to your data center. Okay, that complete rack comes to your data center, and then you can connect it to your power, and you can connect it to your network in the data center, and it is also connected to AWS Cloud. Okay, so that way you'll be able to have establish a hybrid architecture using Outposts. Okay, then containers, right? Docker is a very important thing that is that's creating a lot of disruption the way applications are built and deployed. So it supports Kubernetes. I don't know how many of you know Kubernetes, what Kubernetes means. Kubernetes is again a Google's open source container orchestration. Okay. You can basically build applications using Kubernetes and deploy them. Databases, right? So these are all the databases that it provides. DynamoDB is Amazon's own database. DocumentDB with MongoDB compatibility. Aurora is MySQL and PostgreSQL. Okay, MySQL is another database. PostgreSQL is another famous database. Elastic Cache, Redis, and Memcached. Right. So these are two major cache products that are there. Okay, RDS. Okay, RDS you have MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle, SQL Server, MariaDB. So Ravi sir is teaching you Oracle, right? So now in RDS, Amazon RDS also, you can build an Oracle database and then you can start using that same Oracle database on Amazon. There are developer tools. Cloud9 is a developer tool that AWS offers. End user computing. Yeah, front end, web and mobile. Internet of Things. Machine learning. Okay, there's so many these many machine learning services are there in AWS. SageMaker is a complete platform which is used to build machine learning applications. Okay, transcribe is another service. Poly, Poly is another interesting service, right? So what Poly does is it can turn your text into speech. Okay, if you type something, it will basically take that and convert it into a speech. I'll show you some examples out here. Yeah. So what you just heard is basically a computer speaking. It is not a human who is speaking. It's a computer which is speaking. Okay. I'll just show you one more. If you go to blogs, right? If you go to products and go to blog, AWS blog, this is very interesting. You can keep track of this blog, AWS blogs. Just pick up one of the topics. Okay, right. It used to have that poly enabled blogs actually. I'm not sure. Okay, I guess they have removed it right now, but it used to be there. I'll go for a slightly older blog. Okay, I think they've removed it. So what they have done is they actually put a poly-enabled poly-enabled service here. So if you want to read this, right? I mean, you don't have to read it, right? You can just play that. What it does is it basically takes this whole thing and then it reads out for you. It'll read like this: announcing the winner of the AWS Deep Composer Chartbusters, the Sounds of Science Challenge. We are excited to announce the top 10 compositions and the winner of the AWS Deep Composer Chartbusters. So it just reads it. It just reads it out for you. So it's very cool, right? Poly is it's a nice service, which uses AI and ML to take the complete text and then it'll read it out for you. Okay, like how a human would read, right? Because what humans would know is, I mean, when there is a comma, you give a pause. When there is a dot, a full stop, period, you take a pause there, right? And then you stop reading that sentence and then you start with a new sentence. Right? So all that natural language expressions are actually brought in the form of machine learning. So that is poly actually. Recognition is it will analyze image and video. Okay, recognition. What recognition does is, like for example, you take this recognition, right? It tells there's a dog and what type of dog it is. So you can give any video, any image. It identifies the object in that image, and then it tells you. Okay, let's take this one, right? This is like face detection and analysis. So face detection is a very a very relevant technology these days, right? I mean, with face detection, you can authenticate somebody, right? Even iPhone has got face detection, right? So where you can just this thing you can just do the authentication using your face. So in this case, if you see, there's a woman who's smiling, right? uh, so it tells that she is a female by just looking at the characteristics of the face, hair, and things like that, right? It tells that person is a female, and the eyes are open 100%. And based on her expression, it says that she is happy. 97.4% she is happy, and she's smiling. She's giving a very nice smile, 100% of smile, right? So with Amazon recognition, you can easily detect when faces appear in images and videos, and get attributes such as gender, age, range, eyes open, glasses. You can do this actually. You can try this thing. So this is Werner Vogels, right? So Werner Rogels is the CTO of Amazon. Okay, Chief Technology Officer of Amazon. It recognized his face and it said it is Werner Rogels because this face resembles 98% of Werner Rogels. And yeah. So in fact, for the FIFA football season, right? In fact, recognition was used to recognize uh, the the players, the football players, right? And to understand what their emotions are, right? And to kind of, so what it does is it basically tracks every phase in real time. Okay. So what it does is it basically recognizes every person in in the video, and then it tells who is who, what person, right? So, and also you can capture the path of people in the scene when using Amazon recognition in the video. In fact, there are some examples of that. Okay, that's fine. But if you see, yeah, see NFL, right? NFL is using recognition. CBS is using, Influential is using recognition. So you can go through each and every service like this, right? Just go to products, click on the category, and then game technology, right? There's something called Game Lift and Lumberyard. So this is a Game Lift is a service which is used to host your games. You can build your games and host your games there, online games. Okay, Internet of Things. So these many services are there with Internet of Things, right? So where you can go ahead and build your IoT based applications, machine learning. We saw machine learning, media services, right? Elastic Transcoder, interactive video service, Kinesis video streams. Like you want to build your own equivalent of YouTube, you can build easily using the media services that AWS offers. Networking and content delivery, right? So these are all the concepts that uh, services that allows interconnectivity between your services, interconnectivity between your applications. Quantum technologies, right? Again, I'm not sure how many of you have come across, you know, quantum science, theory of quantum. There's a lot of research happening in the theory of quantum space, right? So basically, in fact, there's a lot of experiments that are happening to understand the space, understand the universe using quantum technologies, right? So robotics, you can use RoboMaker to build your robotic applications, build your own robots. It gives a complete framework to build your own robots very quickly and very easily. Satellite, okay. So you must be wondering what AWS has got to do with satellites. But remember, there's a lot of research that is going on, right? Companies like Amazon, like Jeff Bezos, right? Jeff Bezos is the one who founded Amazon, right? Most of you must be aware of Jeff Bezos. He turns the world's richest man every now and then. Okay, whenever the Amazon stocks spike up, whenever the Amazon's share value spikes up, he becomes the world's richest man. Okay, and then if it goes down, of course, he takes the world number 2 or number 3 position. So Jeff Bezos is actually using his personal investments to basically launch satellites, launch rockets, reusable rockets to the space, like how Elon Musk is doing, right? Tesla's Elon Musk. Uh, I don't know how many of you know Elon Musk, Tesla. So Tesla is also, Elon Musk is also in a very deep space research where he's trying to colonize space, right? And he's trying to basically send satellites and send rockets to Mars so that we can colonize Mars at some point in time. In fact, people have started buying land in Mars. How many of you are aware? Okay, people have started reserving land in Mars. At some point in time down the line, there will be satellites. There will be like flight services which is taking people from, say, India to US or US to Australia. So similarly, at some point in time, you'll see that people from Earth will go to Mars, and people will go for vacations to Mars and come back. Okay, that is quite interesting. Okay, and it's quite fascinating. But that's a reality, right? So that's bound to happen. So now there's a lot of research that is going on, right? How do we colonize Mars and how do we set up thing in Mars? So basically, AWS Ground Station is a service that is used to build satellites and all the ground equipments that is required to launch satellites, right? So that's used. I mean, if I'm interested to build my own satellite ground station, I can use AWS Ground Station to build my satellites and launch a rocket to space. Security, identity, and compliance. There are so many security services that AWS offers. Identity and access management, Cognito, Detective. There's a service called Detective. It can it can investigate security issues, guard duty, inspector, Macy, artifacts, certificate manager. So many services. I mean, countless, so many services. I mean, you name it, you have it. Any cryptographic based algorithm that you want to use, you'll have those services here. Okay, you want to encrypt your data, okay, using an envelope based algorithm encryption, you'll find that service in the security service. Firewalls, you want firewalls, you have firewalls. Okay, and then storage. Okay, again, I spoke about three main key things, right? Compute, network, and storage. These are the three major three core services that AWS offers, right? So from storage perspective, you have so many storage types of storage available in AWS, like a block storage, hard disk that you get on the cloud. You get S3, simple storage service. S3 is nothing but an object storage. Okay, you can store files, you can store anything in the S3, right? Like how you store it in Google Drive, right? I'm sure most of you must be using Google Drive or OneDrive. So similarly, S3 is a object storage that you can store for a very cheap cost in AWS. Elastic Block Storage is your hard disk on AWS. Elastic File System is like a fully managed file system, like NFS, network file system that you have in Linux, right? FSX is for Windows servers, right? You can use FSX for Windows. Glacier is for archiving all storage, right? You don't have to delete any data. You can simply archive it to Glacier and it stays in Glacier forever for a very, very throwaway cheap price. Backup, you can use backup to back up all your data on cloud. Snow family is again, Snowball is a device which it's like a big, huge hard drive that gets shipped to your data center. You want to transfer huge amounts of data to AWS Cloud, one-time transfer as part of your migration, right? Because right now you must enterprises must have a lot of data, petabytes, terabytes of data, right? Snowball is a small device that um, it's like it's like a briefcase, right, or a suitcase, which comes maybe 1 foot tall. No, not 1 foot, maybe 3 foot tall. You just take it, put it in your data center, and you can connect it, and then you can transfer all the data, ship it back to AWS. AWS will store it. That is Snowball. There are so many other storage services that are available out here, right? Okay. So these are all the various different services that AWS offers. Okay. So now I will show you a few videos, right? And then and then I'll point you to a few uh, documentation. You read the documentation today, okay, and then we can actually start going through service after service. I'll teach you the basic services which you need to understand right now, and then the rest of the services you can uh, basically read about it later. Okay, I'll give you a few links. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you some videos.
No, we cannot hear the audio if it has anything.
Can't hear the audio.
Yeah.
Is the audio not audible?
No,
Yeah,
no.
it's not audible.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Then I think I have to reshare the screen
Yeah.
with share computer sound. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, let me just replay it.
AWS is the world's most comprehensive and broadly adopted
Is it audible now?
Yes.
cloud platform. Millions of customers trust AWS to power their infrastructure and applications. Organizations of every type and size are using AWS to lower costs, become more agile, and innovate faster. AWS provides on-demand delivery of technology services via the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. You can use these services to build and run virtually any type of application without upfront costs or ongoing commitments. You only pay for what you use. AWS gives you more services and more features within those services than any other cloud provider. This makes it faster, easier, and more cost-effective to move your existing applications to the cloud and to build anything you can imagine. From infrastructure technologies like compute, storage, and databases, to emerging technologies such as machine learning and artificial intelligence, data lakes and analytics, and Internet of Things. Building on AWS means you can choose the right tool for the job. For example, AWS offers the widest variety of databases that are purpose-built for different types of applications. With AWS, you can leverage the latest technologies to experiment and innovate more quickly. We are continually accelerating our pace of innovation to invent entirely new technologies you can use to transform your business. Like pioneering the serverless computing space with the launch of AWS Lambda, which lets developers run their code without provisioning or managing servers. And AWS built Amazon SageMaker, a fully managed machine learning service that empowers everyday developers and scientists to use machine learning without any previous experience. We are constantly expanding our global network of AWS regions, so you can access AWS services to build and run your applications from anywhere in the world. Each of these regions has multiple availability zones that are physically separated from each other and connected by low latency, high throughput, and highly redundant networking. This makes it easy to design and operate applications that are scalable, fault tolerant, and highly available. our infrastructure is built to satisfy the security standards of the most risk-sensitive organizations. You also have access to the AWS Partner Network, which has thousands of systems integrators who specialize in AWS services, and tens of thousands of independent software vendors who adapt their technology to work on AWS. With the largest community of customers across every industry, AWS has unmatched experience and operational expertise you can depend upon for your most important applications in every imaginable use case.
Okay, all right. So this is a quick video about what AWS is. Okay, I'll send you some links which you can go through today. But what I want to quickly spend the next 10 minutes is show you some more videos around Deep Racer. Yeah, so Deep Racer is basically okay. I spoke about the AI/ML, right? Artificial intelligence and machine learning on AWS, correct? Okay, so now Deep Racer is one such applications in AWS, which allows you to build your AI/ML models and test it. Okay, now what is Deep Racer? Let's look at this video.
Okay, hello Cloud Gurus, how y'all doing? Welcome to the very first episode of Deep Racer, the fast and the curious. I'm Scott Pletcher, I'm an instructor here at A Cloud Guru, and I'm quite skilled at messing things up. This series is going to be about our picture-perfect journey into Deep Racer glory. I mean, we're cloud professionals, and we should know what we're doing, right? Wrong. It was a hot mess. This series is going to be a behind-the-scenes, no-holds-barred look at A Cloud Guru's journey through the 2019 Deep Racer season. We're going to share with you all the highlights and lowlights of how we got started, our struggles, our frustrations, our misadventures, as we compete in several Deep Racer events throughout the season. So buckle your seatbelts, because here we go. It all began on a pleasant day in November 2018. As part of a slew of new announcements at 2018 reInvent, Dr. Matt Wood announced Deep Racer. So what is Deep Racer? Deep Racer is a 1/18th scale model car with a camera and a small Intel computer strapped to it. The vehicle can be trained to navigate around a track all by itself just by using vision and computing power. Now, right out of the box, Deep Racer can't do much by itself. We have to teach it to drive. We do this through a process called reinforcement learning, but more on that later. The output of the training process is called a model, and we can load that model onto our Deep Racer car. Think of the model as sort of like a brain. We have to first train the brain how to race, and then we can load the brain onto the car. The onboard computer then uses that brain to take images via the camera and issue commands to the servos in the car that control the steering. Well, as is tradition with us humans, as soon as we invent something new, we have to figure out how to race it. So of course, we needed to have a way to race our Deep Racer cars. Enter the Deep Racer League. AWS created the Deep Racer League as part crowdsourcing platform and part promotional vehicle. No pun intended there. At various AWS events, both virtually and in person, competitors will have the opportunity to race the models against the clock, all vying for the top time. The top times will then be invited to race at the season finale event at reInvent 2019 in Las Vegas. So what is machine learning? Well, machine learning is quite unfortunately named as it conjures up images of some menacing mechanical beast suddenly acquiring genius-level brain power from silicon and electrons. And of course, our real brains run wild with what-if scenarios, usually trending towards the catastrophic. Let me throw some water on things. Machine learning is really just math. Well, there's more components to it than that, but basically it's just math. Let's look at the parts. Ultimately, we need something that can estimate or predict things, and we call this a model. To create a model, we first need a few things. First, we need something or some place that can do math for us. Next, We need some data. We might need to provide data as examples. We might need to transform the data so that it's easier for our computers to do the math on. Or maybe we can just analyze the data as it is. And we also need some sort of instructions on how to analyze that data, and this we call an algorithm. And usually we have some sort of way to tell if our model is doing a good job. Now we have a few different types of machine learning. Supervised machine learning is a process where we feed in example data to the algorithm and let it sort of reverse engineer a math formula from our samples. Unsupervised learning is where our algorithms just analyze the data directly without any sort of explicit training step. And then we have reinforcement learning. So what is reinforcement learning? Well, training a deep racer model involves something called reinforcement learning. With reinforcement learning, we create a reward system that will incentivize the learning algorithm to repeat the desired behavior or reduce the undesired behavior. The reinforcement learning process repeats scenarios over and over again, trying to figure out how to maximize reward or minimize reward loss. Eventually, this process develops into something called a policy. The policy is what our deep racer car uses to decide how to maneuver around the track. And our reward system, or our reward function as it's called, can have many different dimensions, and it can be quite complex. We might want to incentivize the model to stay in the center of the track, or perhaps we want to penalize it for going too slow. Now, a benefit of reinforcement learning is that it can take into account relatively complex cause and effect situations, like driving a model car. However, because reinforcement learning is pretty much trial and error, it needs lots of iterations and data to build a good policy. So now you know a bit more about deep racer and reinforcement learning. In later episodes, we'll see how to put these things into practice and dive a bit deeper into the reward function and how deep racer works.
Nick Trianafilu here, and I'm an instructor at Cloud Guru. Now, if you're super keen about machine learning and you really want to get into it, go check out our Certified Machine Learning Specialty course on our platform.
Okay, that was a fun video, right? So basically, deep racer, right? So deep racer is again, it's a very fun thing, right? I mean, don't take it too seriously. It's a car which was launched, a miniature car, 1/18th size of the real car, which has all the features of a real car, right? Such as it has a camera, it can basically, it has a steering, it probably nobody can steer it except the computer. It has got a computer Intel chip embedded in it, and it has got a network in it, right? So what you do is you basically teach the car how to drive. Right, you know about self-driving cars, right? These days, a lot of self-driving cars have experiments are going on around the world. And Uber itself is planning to launch self-driving cars sometimes. Tesla has got self-driving cars, and Tesla has got self-driving trucks as well. So, but at the end of the day, if a human is driving a car, human would apply his or her cognitive thinking to drive the car or drive the vehicle. But if a machine has to have that cognitive thinking, that is where AI ML plays a major role in applying a reinforcement learning, right? And use neural networks to kind of teach how to drive a car, right? And as if a human would drive it, right? If you see a red light, you stop it. If somebody comes in the path of your driving, you immediately apply a sudden brake. Right, and then you maneuver the car as per the conditions that you see in the road, correct? So now if a computer has to do it, or if a machine has to do it, that is where you need a lot of training to be given to the machine, various different scenarios. So now what AWS came up with is AWS came up with a small vehicle called Deep Racer, using which you can train the Deep Racer car to go in a particular track. It knows, it has a camera, it will capture real-time images, and those images are processed in real time, and then it knows when to turn, right, based on the images that it processes. Is it going in the exact yellow line of the track or not, right? Or is it going away? Is it steering away from the track? So those kind of learning is what it can do. So all of that is built using AWS SageMaker. SageMaker, I said, is the AI ML services, correct? So using that, this is built. So it's just a fun thing. Just go through that maybe sometime later. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you some links. Go through those links. Okay. So if you go to aws.amazon.com, what is AWS? I'm going to paste it in the chat. Okay, I'm going to paste it in the chat. Click this link. So once you click that link, you will see this page. Read through this page. Okay, don't create any account for now. I'll tell you how to do it. But just read through this page. If you already have an account, you're good. But if you don't have one, just stay. I'll tell you how to create an account. So then this is like, you can read through this whole thing. And you'll see some Gartner reports out here. You see that AWS is in the topmost leaders position, leaders quadrant. Okay, and then what you can do is you can go through some of these as well. Below, you see learn about AWS. You see what is cloud computing, right? What is DevOps. Forget about containers, data lake, and all of that. You can ignore some of those, but go through these 3-4 links, right? What is AWS? What is cloud computing? And then what you can do is you can start looking at certain videos that, yeah, you can go through these links as well. Pricing, how AWS charges on a pay-per-use, pay-as-you-go approach. What is the global infrastructure? I showed you about that infrastructure.aws, right? So just go through that. You'll get a decent understanding. Once you're done with this page, go through this products, click on this products, go through each and every product. Whether you understand it or do not understand it, that's not a problem, right? I mean, obviously you may not understand everything, but simply just go through it. Just for the heck of it, just go through it. Like click each and everything, just go inside. Like for example, you have Amazon EMR, right? Click that, you will see one or two paragraph in that. Read through that. It will be very useful. Okay, so do this today. Okay, and then we'll again regroup tomorrow, and we can get started with. I'll show you demos of how to create a new account and how do you start configuring your AWS services, and how do you first create one virtual machine in AWS as one small thing, one small T2 micro. Okay, so now are we all clear what needs to be done? So just go through the reading that I've given you, go through some of those links, and then go through the product section, and then get yourself familiarized with the various different services that AWS offers. That is the step one. Okay, and when time permits, you can go through some of the cool videos that are there on the internet, on YouTube. Like Deep Racer is there. Okay, and there's so many fun things that are there. I mean, you will see you will keep hearing a lot of wows. Oh wow, this is how AWS does it. So it's kind of unimaginable. Okay, so let's take a pause here. It's 10:30, so let's take a pause here, and you guys can get into your breakout sessions. Okay, start reading through some of these, right? And if you have any questions, come prepared for tomorrow. If you don't understand certain things, I mean, you don't have to go on whatever I told today. If you don't understand any of those, just come back tomorrow. We'll again revisit those on the basics. All right. So then you can break out into your breakout rooms, respective breakout rooms. And thanks all for attending the class today. Thanks mentors, thanks organizers. Sairam. Have a good day.
Hi, Ramana. Thank you.
Sairam.
Telendarana, before you create breakout rooms, I just have few quick announcements to make. So please give me a second. Let me share my screen.
Sure.
So yeah. So last Saturday, last Saturday we had this presentations, right? Paper presentations. So like we promised, we are announcing the winners and we are announcing some prizes for the winners who have won the presentation contest. The best presentation was from Anjali, and her mentor is Arundhati. So Anjali, being the best presentation, she has won 250 rupee Amazon gift voucher. And so I congratulate Anjali for her great work she has done for the presentation. So we will be sharing you Amazon gift voucher, the gift card. There will be some code which you need to use in order to redeem your gift card. So you can buy anything on the Amazon.com website. So yeah, I again congratulate Anjali for winning the for presenting the best presentation for that on that day. And next we have Surya Prakash. So Surya Prakash has 150 rupees worth Amazon gift voucher, and his mentor is Madhav. So Madhav is mentor of Surya Prakash. So congrats Surya Prakash, you have 150 rupees gift voucher. And then we have Narayan Vijay Kumar, who he's a third. He has secured the third best presentation award, and he has won 100 rupees worth of Amazon gift card, and his mentor is Shiva. So I congratulate both, and you will all receive your gift voucher code, gift card codes from your mentors. I'll share these gift cards with mentors, and your mentors will then share all your those gift cards. So please reach out to your mentor, Anjali Suryaprakash and Narayan Vijay Kumar. So reach out to your mentors, and I will be sharing the code with mentors very soon. So one more thing I want to share is I've been observing
Sir.
many of the students are not joining on time. I'm seeing most of them joining around 9:15, 9:20, 9:30, very relaxedly. So please make sure you are joining before 9 a.m. tomorrow, because sir will be starting 9 a.m. from tomorrow. So if you are joining late, you'll be missing out important information, and ultimately you may end up missing out understanding the whole session. So I request you all to please be available on Zoom before 9 a.m. Tomorrow. Very soon we will be having more strict monitoring on the late joinees. We may also reject those students who are joining late, and we will try to ask them to join the next day if they are joining late. So please make sure you are joining every day, and if you are for some reason you are getting late or you are not available for the session, please update your mentor that you have so and so problem that you are unable to make it on time. So we will definitely consider if there is a genuine reason, but we if it is if you are joining late without any reason, we will definitely not be in a position to accept that. So yeah, I want to again reiterate that we all are expecting you from tomorrow onwards before 9 a.m. Thank you very much. And before Shailendra creates breakout rooms, anyone have any doubts, any questions, any concerns for me or Prasanna sir, or uh, Anything else? Any concerns from anyone?
Yeah, so Ravi, before they kind of get to that, I would like to congratulate Anjali, Surya Prakash, and Narayana, and for your awesome uh, presentations. Congratulations! Keep up the good work. I'm sure you will serve as an inspiration for all of us out here. Kudos to you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks. And whoever has not won the contest this time, we will definitely have few more fun activities, fun contests coming up. Maybe over the weekends. So watch out and make sure you participate and you won some gift cards in the upcoming weekends. So don't get disappointed, and you will definitely have opportunity to win it.
Yeah. So in fact, on AWS, in fact, we're planning to conduct some sort of a fun gamified sessions, right? So where I'm sure all of you would have read about what gamification is. If not, Google for gamification. You will see that what gamification means. So we will have some of the gamified sessions, which will give you a fun experience, fun learning experience, and then at the end of it, we'll also have a leaderboard, and you'll be able to actually answer those questions in the leaderboard, and you'll be able to uh, you then start your hands-on with AWS, and then once in about 2 weeks or so, we will have such small events, where we will test your knowledge through those gamified experience, and it'll be a lot more fun, right? And we'll do that quite frequently.
That sounds exciting, Prasanna sir. I'm sure everyone would be excited for those sessions.
Yeah. So in fact, so those of, I mean, if you know any of your friends who dropped out, I mean, please ask them to rejoin, right? And tell them, I mean, that they're going to have a lot of fun. I mean, they're missing a lot of fun. Okay, so maybe you should, if you know some of your friends who have dropped out because they felt it's quite uh, tough and they're not able to cope up with it, tell them to relax. It's not really that what they're thinking. Okay, so let them give it a try.
Thank you. Thanks, Hamza.
Thank you.
Are we opening the rooms?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Shailendra.
Thanks all. Have a good day. See you all tomorrow morning 9 o'clock. Bye.
Yeah, you
Bye.
have a good